Hey guys, Brandon here with the High Pointers and excited to bring you part 2 of our interview with Navy SEAL Don Mann. If you didn't watch part 1, go back and watch it. And just to remind you of who Don is, he is a former Navy SEAL from Team 6, both as a soldier and an instructor. So we hike Mount Rogers, the high point of Virginia, with him, and along the way stop to ask him all kinds of questions, from competing in the world's longest triathlon to his civilian life compared to his military life. And yeah, he lets us get down and dirty and even pretty deep with him. So we enjoyed getting to get to know him, and so hopefully you guys enjoy part 2 of our interview with Don Mann. And don't forget, it's kind of raw and unedited, so sometimes it's windy, but hope you enjoy.
Me and Brandon, obviously, we've been doing big adventures for years, and I've actually had the opportunity to complete several 100-mile ultra marathons, but that has me dealing with overtraining syndrome. And I actually heard that your doctor had told you that you had the worst overtraining he had ever seen. You had torn rotator cuff, torn quadriceps, your kidneys were shutting down. So I guess my question would be to you is, how do you handle a healthy lifestyle, stay motivated, but not overdo it?
So twice I almost killed myself from overtraining, and the time you're talking about was in San Diego, and I was training for the longest triathlon in the world at the time. And back then, in the late 70s and early 80s, we used to go 3 times race distance. So if you're training for a marathon, you try to run 75 plus miles a week. So this race here was a 3.1 mile swim, 156 mile bike ride, 31 mile run. So what I was doing, I was swimming 10 miles a week, riding a bike 450 miles a week, running 90 miles a week, part-time because I was a SEAL also. And I weigh 185, my body started eating from itself, and I started having pains everywhere. I went down to 138, and the day I was hospitalized, my swim coach, I was doing laps with a swim coach, he said, "Don, you look terrible, you're turning green." And I went home and my wife screamed. We did a 4-mile swim and a 20-mile run. And she screamed and she says, "Don, you look terrible. You need to take a break." My swim coach says, "You need to slow down." I said, "I can't slow down yet. I'm not tapering yet." So I just needed to get some bed rest. And I passed out. And then I tried going in the bathtub to cool off. And I passed out in the hallway and woke up in the hospital. So I had compressed spine, torn rotator cuff, torn quadricep muscle, chronic plantar fascia, nerve damage. But the reason I was dying is my kidneys and liver were shutting down from overuse. And the doctor said that's the worst case of overuse syndrome we've ever seen. And I'm not proud of it by any means, but I was pretty sure I was training harder than anybody I knew of. And so now I always believed you have to go over that line of overdoing it. If you're not hallucinating or bonking or bleeding or passing out, you weren't giving it your all. And now I've smartened up after a couple decades of doing that. Now I touch the line, recognize where the line is of overdoing it, and back off. So that doesn't happen to me anymore.
So how do you think the everyday person can find that line or that edge without going over?
So that line and that edge, that's up to everybody. Like, even if you're a father or a piano player or a cook or an accountant, if you give too much to something else will fail. Your family, maybe a relationship, maybe overuse as an athlete. I think it's up to every individual to recognize where that line of overdoing it is. And once you start getting up there and things start breaking down, back off at that point. You back off and come back stronger. Maybe you go up higher, but not to go over the line. In the mountaineering community, to steal from the mountaineering community, you get summit fever, you want to just keep going, but you go over that line, it's the death zone, and things break down. But just before getting to that death zone, back off, get stronger, then come back, maybe try another way. That's how I believe now.
Because I think it's really important to be pushing, but then also be able to have longevity, right? And I think isn't that the balance? Because that's why we love being around guys like you, because that's what we aspire to, and to try and do it for that long. So I mean, is there like a magic ingredient for that?
Well, you guys, you're younger and you've done so much in your lifetime, and you're going strong still. It seems like you're doing the right things, and you're smart. You're smart about it. People do burn out by overdoing it. Too much can do you in, is a saying we have in SEAL teams. You push too hard for too long, you're going to break down. And it's hard when you're very ambitious and motivated, and you want to do the best and be the fastest and the strongest. But you have to have another step above that and be smart too. Like, nope, if I go a little harder, a little faster, a little bit too long, I'm going to break down, and it's going to hurt my longevity. Mm-hmm. And I think you can keep going until your days are over, if you have that attitude.
I appreciate your advice because, I always love, and Brandon loves too, learning from successful people, asking questions and gaining advice, gaining knowledge, and I appreciate you sharing that knowledge with us.
Thanks. I love your energy. You've got great energy, and you guys are going to go on forever, I'm sure, doing this stuff.
When we're together, we're not like this. We usually don't like each other that much.
Yeah.
But well, guys, we got a couple more miles. You ready? And actually, I see that big rock.
Yeah, we got a little bit more ahead of us, but it still looks really cool.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right, Don.
Excellent.
Let's do it. We're getting to the top, and I always think, when Greg and I are getting close to a summit, right? Like we're so focused on the goal, and I always feel like when I think of Navy SEALs, right? They're just so goal focused, so goal oriented, right? How do you think? I mean, just for Greg and I, kind of in the future, that's why we like just hanging out with guys like you, just to rub off on a little bit. But how do you set your goals, and what's kind of the way that you do it when you're trying to focus on that next goal, that next thing that you're trying to do?
What I like to do is the terminology I like to use is a macro goal. To set a big goal. It sometimes takes a year or 5 years to hit that, but set a macro goal. Say early on it was marathons and 2 marathons and Ironmans, double Ironmans, mountains, whatever the macro goal is, become a Navy SEAL. They're all macro goals. But I needed a lot of micro goals. I needed a map to get up to that macro goal. And then I was very motivated to achieve every micro goal too. Like for instance, when I wanted to be a SEAL, everything I ate was to become stronger and more nutrition in my body. Every time I slept was to wake up and feel better for the next workout. Every workout was to become a stronger SEAL. So they're all little micro goals to become the SEAL. And the macro goal for this here, for even a daily macro goal, is to summit Mount Rogers. To me, I'm very, very honored that I'm here with you and proud because getting to climb the highest point in Virginia. I've never done that. I've lived in Virginia for over 30 years, so I'm so happy to be here. Yeah. And this goal we're going to achieve together.
You're going to be a true Virginian now.
That's right. That's right.
Well, we're glad to be able to do that with you.
Virginia high pointer.
Yeah. It's our honor.
Yeah, thanks. I'm very happy to be here with you.
I think sometimes, like Greg and I, we like to have fun, and I think, life is short, and I think you have to pick your times, when you're serious and when you have fun. So we like to goof off, and but I think too, and I think just to have those balances, right? To have that balance in life, you kind of have to pick those things. And so, like for you, I think, like when I think of Navy SEALs, life, it's life or death, right? It's life or death. And so, how do you balance that life when you were a SEAL and you're seeing a lot of death, and you're seeing, just things that we can never imagine, right? And then when you come out of that, or you're no longer in battle. So many Navy SEALs and just military people in general have PTSD, right? So like, how do you just balance that and just maintain really just kind of a healthy life, right?
You make me think back so many nights at the end of something we just did that was dangerous. We'd all toast. We cheated death once again, and we're all toast. And that was we're grateful to be alive or not hurt. And then on the other hand, you're always playing practical jokes on each other, just doing ridiculous juvenile things to one another, telling stupid fun jokes, and it kept everything light and lively up to the point where it got very, very serious. Then you go into serious mode, cheat death, come back and joke around, and everybody had a great sense of humor, and it was really what got you through the times. And no matter how bad it got, people told jokes and had a good time.
Mm-hmm. I think that can definitely relate to anything in life, right? We go through hard times, but it's important to have a sense of humor and almost make light of it, right?
I think so. Yeah. I definitely think so, yeah.
As far as your without getting, well, no, I think I'll get a little personal, just because we're brothers, and I just always finding the balance, but family life, you know, how do you have a life of adventure, being a SEAL, and then just balancing it well with family, because right, so often you hear SEALs, I mean, you know, like SEAL life, that's your family, but then if you're married and you have kids, that also has to be your family, so you're being torn in two different directions. So how can you do that well, you know, is that the challenge, really?
That's a big challenge, and you'll see some very highly successful SEAL admirals, as an example, got it right. A lot of people, including myself, didn't get it right. I remember being gone 300 days a year, and when you're home, can't wait to go out again. I got bored at home. I loved my family and I loved my wife and all that, but I couldn't wait to be out with the guys.
Yeah.
And so you say you're a family man and you say you're there for your wife and kids, but when you are given 300 days a year to your other family, to the team, it says something. And it's hard to balance that, you know, when you're home a couple of months over the year and gone 300 days a year. And then now the guys, they come home, they go to funerals, they go to the buddies' funerals, they go to hospital, you know, get medical checkups, then they get recalled to go back overseas again early because they're running out of people. It's nonstop for these guys.
Yeah.
And it's not just the SEALs. The SEALs have taken a heavy burden the last couple of wars for sure, but it's the price they're paying. And they're broken down, you know, they get broken down. They don't have the luxury to always stay in shape and be rested and have family vacations. You couldn't plan a family vacation. You couldn't, you're missing most of the birthdays and anniversaries and all that. It's a rare exception if you make any of those.
When I was doing just a little research, and I knew you were going to be joining us, I had read about your brother and that he had had some issues and was struggling with drugs, and that you stopped everything that you were doing with your SEAL training, and then you flew and you didn't care what the consequences were just to go and see him and try to help him with his recovery.
Yeah, and I'm really happy I did that. I went AWOL, which is illegal, but I had both my sisters got married. I missed both their weddings. Both my uncles died. I missed both their funerals. I was missing everything. And then I got a letter from my mother, or a phone call saying, please, your brother needs help. He got on drugs. He's in a bad way. You got to help him. I asked if I can get out to go see him for a week, and they said, no, we're too busy. So I told my partner, I'm going. If I lose my position in SEAL team, I got to do it for family. So I went out to Rhode Island and talked to my brother, who was in really, really bad shape, and I knew I only had one day with him. I wrote him a 7-page letter the night before and said, Ricky, you're my only brother, you know, I love you. You've gone down the wrong path. I was on this path at one time too, until I found SEAL team. You're on the wrong path, and you're not going to live. You're going to go in prison soon. One of the others is going to happen fast. And I wrote this 7-page letter at the end. I said, please do one favor for me. Quit partying for 1 month. Just quit. And if you can't, let me send you to rehab. So we went to this biker bar. He picks me up in his Harley and all these bikers everywhere. And we sat down there, and I gave my brother the letter. And he's reading it, and the bartender knows him. He's offering him drinks. And at the end of the letter, he said, no, I'm on the wagon. And that letter, he's been on the wagon ever since that. And that's
Wow, that's great.
almost 30 years now.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it was worth it, giving up, you know, taking the risk in the SEAL team. If we got recalled while I was away, I would have been in big trouble with the SEALs, but I had to do it for my brother's life.
That's an incredible story.
Yeah,
That's
and he's
awesome.
doing fine now,
Yeah,
still, you know.
good for him. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Thanks.
Well, Don, you know, we were able to celebrate September 11th with you in Virginia Beach, and now it's, you know, it's the day after, but really just this whole trip, I know we're just about to be at the summit, but it's been an honor being with you. And the other thing I just love about being in the mountains, it's like, you know, you get to share these fun moments, and then just kind of to have these, you know, these serious, more intimate moments, and I think that's what I love about being outside in the outdoors. So,
Same here.
So appreciate it.
I'm having so much fun being here with you guys.
Yeah,
this
it's
is
been great.
perfect. This is excellent.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
guys. So we're going through the last piece
Yeah,
of the
just a
forest.
little bit
and-
left.
All right. Okay. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Sun's coming out.
I hope you guys enjoyed our extended interviews with Don Mann, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page, and if you haven't watched full episodes of the High Pointers, you can go to our website at thehighpointers.com, and we have links to episodes on PBS and Amazon Prime. So until next time, see y'all on the next summit.